What is up, everybody? It's week 9. We've came back from Vegas. Caden is now a married man. We sang some Blink 182. It happened. How does it feel?
Oh man, it was a great time. Yeah, Vegas, man. I think that was my first time. I think it's one of those places that you like to go, but it's also, only just a few days will do. You know what I mean? Like any more than we were there, I probably would have got sick of it. But great time. We went to When We Were Young on Saturday. When We Were Young was amazing. I mean, I don't think I'll probably ever go to another concert that tops that. Got married on Monday. Flew back on Tuesday. Yeah, it was awesome, man. I mean, I had a great time. Definitely would go again, but kind of want to do some other things before I go back to Vegas. So great time though, man. What'd you think?
Yeah, it was a good time. Fun to see you guys get married. All right. While we were at the airport together on the flight home, we had the trade deadline go. Let's talk
Which we
about
couldn't
that.
see because my phone didn't work worth a shit on the plane. And so my phone was dead or close to dead. So the only information I was getting is what you were behind me on the plane telling me. And I was like, oh, shit. Oh, no. What does this mean? And then once I got home and charged my phone, it had all already passed. And I had to sit there for like an hour and just recap it. But this was the busiest trade deadline I think I've seen in years. I mean, usually the trade deadline's like, oh, we'll send you a filler linebacker for a sixth or something. I mean, it's just kind of here and there. There's no real major moves most of the time. But, man, we saw a lot this time.
We did. It was a very active one. I want to say it was a record-setting one, but I might not be right about that. So, first move.
Right.
The Bills get Nyheim Hines. They send the Colts Zach Moss and a 6th rounder. Does this have any fantasy impact?
It does. I mean, I think it makes me wonder what's going on with the James Cook saga. James Cook's a guy I liked a lot, loved the landing spot. I thought he had a real big pass catching upside. They have Nyheim Hines for this year and next at least. I don't know, man. I don't know what it means. It was kind of an odd trade because, out of Bills camp, they acted like Zach Moss was going to be the dude. Clearly that's not the case. And it looks, I mean, Nyheim Hines is a subpar rusher, but he's got good receiving upside. So kind of questionable. I mean, it's a big boost for him, clearly. A big downgrade for James Cook. That's kind of the way I see this one going. That one was a head scratcher for me. I didn't know why they did that.
Where do you think Nyheim Hines falls rest of the season?
I mean, here's the problem with an offense like that. There's just so many different ways it could go. I wouldn't say he's an every week starter. I don't think he falls in the RB1, RB2 category at all. I think he's kind of leaning more towards like a boomer bust flex play, a desperation start, in my opinion. I'd go probably, mid to low end RB3 rest of season. He'd have to have a lot of really good boom games to hinder any kind of regular start ability.
Yeah, I have him as a high-end RB3. A little higher than you, but not an every week starter. He's going to have boom weeks and bust weeks. There's a realm where he becomes like their Cole Beasley, but I don't know how much that really plays out.
Yeah, I can see that.
Next move has no fantasy implications for this year, but if I'm a dynasty manager of this guy, I'm probably pretty happy. Jaguars traded for Calvin Ridley. They sent the Falcons a 5th and a conditional 4th. I like this one. Calvin Ridley is very good. Trevor Lawrence needs an alpha receiver. We see that. We saw the jump Allen made with an alpha. That's very important. I like this. I really like this. AFC South is weak. I don't think the Titans are built to last. Texans are going through a rebuild. The Colts are, they're just the Colts. I don't think they're going to figure it out for a while. They'll need to rebuild too.
Yeah.
I like Ridley to the Jaguars. I think that's going to set up for a really nice next few years for Trevor Lawrence.
I agree. And they got him for, I mean, what's the worst case scenario for the Jaguars if he, and it's a conditional thing, like if he, I can't remember if he signs a new contract with them, I think it goes up to maybe a second, which if he's doing well enough for you to re-sign him, that's worth it. You know what I mean? Yeah, I love this one. Kind of pisses me off because I couldn't tell you how many times in Dynasty League that someone's thrown Calvin Ridley at me, and it was just too much of an unknown for me to want to really pay a whole lot for it because I'm like, this fucking guy may never play again. Once they get outed for a year, they come, there's a lot of different things that come into play with that. So for me to give up value at that point, it just didn't really make sense. Now, if it was a filler on a deal, I would have took it. But face value alone wasn't enough for me, but I love it now. I mean, if you have Calvin Ridley in Dynasty, you're probably very happy. I see that going very well. You're exactly right. What happened when Stephon Diggs went to Buffalo? And truth be told, Trevor Lawrence is a better passer than Josh Allen coming out of college, for damn sure. There's a lot of good things that could go his way, and Trevor Lawrence gets a plus next year. Calvin Ridley definitely is going to a better situation than he was in. And you start to look at that offense. You're like, okay, they made some improvements on the offensive line in the offseason. They got Kirk, they got Ridley. That's a great 1-2 receiver. Etienne's the truth. He's coming out. He's doing some things. It might be a really good team next year.
How old do you think Calvin Ridley is?
Fuck, 26, 27. He's not very old. I think he was a rookie that year. He was in the Super Bowl, right?
27.8. Right.
Yeah, I mean,
he'll be 28.
Yeah,
he's not that old, and he's had a year and a half off.
Shit. Yeah. I'm really liking this one. All around. The Falcons had already pretty much made their decision when they went and took Drake London early in the draft. We knew they were probably going to move on from Ridley one way or another, and I'm glad. I've always been a Trevor Lawrence fan. I always want to see him succeed. So good for them.
Yeah, I love the move. I want Trevor to be successful. He's faced a little adversity early in his career. I thought he'd be doing better at this point, but I don't. This is almost like a rookie year for him after Urban Meyer. So hard to evaluate.
Yeah.
All right, next trade. The Dolphins received Jeff Wilson. San Francisco receives a 23 fifth. I was surprised at this one. That's a lot. That's what Amari Cooper got traded for.
Well, Amari Cooper had a really shitty contract too, so that makes a little more sense in that aspect. But I mean, Jeff Wilson's a guy that I think criminally gets slept on. Anytime he's in the fold, now granted it was a very running back friendly San Francisco offense, but anytime he was healthy and playing, he produced. I mean, just like anybody in that offense, but he's going to a similar situation and a better offense, in my opinion, right now in Miami. So, yeah, I mean, in my mind, he could finish low end RB2. I think he's a guy you could, depending on your situation, probably start most weeks. I wouldn't start him next week. I'm really big on these guys that get traded. Like, they got a whole fucking playbook to learn. They got to move their whole shit. Like, there's a lot of things that go into it the first week that I generally try to stay away from playing them. But yeah, I think he's a guy that could have some value. I mean, Mostert's there, yes, but I think Jeff Wilson's a better runner in football.
Wilson knows the offense already, coming over from Mike McDaniel. So it might not take that long. Probably some different verbiage. Probably a few new things, but in general, he knows the scheme. Do you think Chase Edmonds returns any fantasy value in Denver?
No, I don't. I'm sorry, but yeah, I mean, they got him locked up for 2 years. Here's the thing that's going to happen is Melvin Gordon's going to be the guy for the rest of the year. Melvin Gordon's on a 1 year. I think he'll be out. Javonte will be back in, and Edmonds will be back to riding the secondary part of a running back kind of committee, kind of probably not. And I just don't love the offense right now enough to really want to have any pieces of it.
You're not feeling dangerous?
No. I mean, he was drafted. Everybody who drafted Dangerous is fucking sad because he had so much hype around him going into the year that he was, if I remember, he was QB8, QB9, and that,
Yep.
I mean, that's a high price to pay for a guy that's been fucking terrible this whole year.
Do you think he's done, or is it a coaching thing?
I think it's a coaching thing. He's still got. I mean, he's got a particular skill set. You know, I feel like if they go sub 500, Hackett gets cut, and maybe they get a real coach, and maybe things turn around. But it's definitely going to be a work in progress.
Sean Payton to Denver.
Ooh, okay. I don't really know why he retired in the first place. Was he just sick of New Orleans, or?
I think he probably saw where it was headed.
Yeah, but they had shitty years even with Drew Brees, so.
And he's been there forever.
Yeah. Makes sense. Those guys are. That would be a good one though. That'd be a good move for them. I know if he decides to coach again, teams should be lining up to get him.
Russell Wilson's exposed interest in playing for him back when he played in Seattle. New Orleans was one of his teams that he was willing to be traded to.
Oh, nice little dialogue there, yeah. I mean, they paid Russell Wilson $250 million, so they better just let him choose the next coach.
Which young wide receiver do you like better in their new landing spot? The Bears' Chase Claypool or the Chiefs' Kadarius Toney?
Are we talking about like fantasy value wise or
real life, however you want to take it?
I mean, I actually was a pretty big fan of both of these trades. I think the Bears paid a little too much for Claypool, in my opinion. Way too much, actually. But he is probably what they need as far as a big body, go get the football type of guy. And I think, sadly, I think the Bears offense might be in better shape than the Steelers, which sounds so weird to say. But I think Tony's going to be a real sleeper value. He's the I don't want to say he's the closest thing, but
say it. I know what you're about to say. Say it.
He's probably the closest thing they've found to a Tyreek Hill replacement. Because I mean, he had games where he was just burning the top off of people, even with Daniel Jones throwing it to him. So, I'm gonna go probably Toney really at the end of the day because Mahomes is gonna get it to him a hell of a lot better than Daniel Jones did. And they're really lacking that burner receiver that just goes deep every play. Like they don't have that. And they thought Valdez-Scantling was going to be that. He really hasn't been. I understand the move to try to fill that Tyreek Hill void. And they didn't give up a lot, I don't think.
Kadarius Toney is quite literally great value Tyreek Hill in this offense.
Yep.
Low 4.4 speed, great after the catch, reliable-ish hands. He put up really good games with Daniel Jones last year. I think he's going to be really good. And I like Claypool on the Bears. I think
I
Justin
do.
Fields is going to thrive with a guy like that. But Kadarius Toney,
Yeah.
Kadarius Toney's going to be good.
I mean, Chase Claypool is no doubt the. I don't want to say he's the best receiver that Justin Fields has played with on the Bears, but I think he's a missing piece. They paid too much, in my opinion. But Kadarius Toney is going to return more value, definitely in fantasy. I feel like give it a game or two. I love how Kadarius Toney had like 2 torn hamstrings, and then all of a sudden he's raring to go. Getting traded from the Giants, I guess, will heal multiple injuries for you.
That was funny. Yeah, you can just tell he did not give a fuck.
Yeah.
All right. So who's going to be the odd man out in New York? Breece Hall, Michael Carter, or James Robinson?
I very, very much feel like it's going to be James Robinson. I think he is just a 1-year fill-in to get a little bit of depth because they're doing the best they've done in years. They're trying to remain competitive. They're in play right now for a playoff spot, and God forbid something happens to Michael Carter, and then they would absolutely be fucked. And I think James Robinson, while he's not what he was before the injury, he can serve that role, and I think next year he's probably going to be the odd man out.
I agree. And he has that pesky Achilles injury. He's out this week with a knee injury.
Ooh, is he?
He got traded for a 6th-round pick, so that's fill-in capital. That's not star player capital. Yeah, I think Robinson's the odd man out as well. TJ Hawkinson, better real-life move or fantasy move?
Oh, better real-life move for them. TJ Hawkinson, here's the deal. I think he gets an up play because he is a better tight end than Irv Smith was. But here's the deal. It's another one of those offenses with a lot of good things around him. I think he'll be just as limited quarterback play. Slight upgrade, but Kirk Cousins isn't 100 miles better than Jared Goff. He's not better than Matthew Stafford was at the time he played with Hawkinson. So I don't really see him having like substantially better value. Like say you took TJ Hawkinson and you took him and you put him on the Jaguars. Now I would say he had some massive value, right? Because he's got a major upgrade in quarterback, limited options. I think he'd have a lot of good things going for him. Going to Minnesota, I think it's kind of a wash because while you upgrade slightly in quarterback play, you kind of wash with how many other weapons are over there. He's going to have better games, but TJ Hawkinson was always like a definition of a boomer bust. I like the guy. I like the player. Minnesota gave up a lot for him, and I think they're kind of in that competitive mindset where they can compete this year. And Irv Smith, and that told me what I needed to know about Irv Smith's situation because the trade got finalized. Irv Smith got sent to IR, so that was done. And he's droppable in every format, not even rosterable. I mean, you can roster him in Dynasty and stash him and see what happens with him, but no, I wouldn't.
Yeah, Hawkinson, I like it in a real-life situation. Better
Yeah.
blocker, better player. Fantasy-wise, I just don't see where he gets any more consistent than he was, like you were saying. Still going to be touchdown dependent. He'll probably have a couple games where he scores multiple touchdowns. Now, we do know Kirk likes to wear the white robe in the red zone. So maybe that plays in here. Thielen hasn't been that good this year. Maybe it's Hawkinson now. But
could be.
I don't think that's going to be what happens, especially this year. I do like the move, though. All right.
That's a good. It's weird though because they traded in the division.
Second time.
Yeah.
They traded for Jameson Williams. The Lions did from the Vikings.
Jameson Williams.
The pick that became Jameson
Williams. The pick to get him, yeah. And maybe that was like their nudge, like, hey, I took care of you that one time, so don't fuck me here. I mean, interdivision trades are always interesting to me because I'm like, you're going to have to see, like, if it's a big play kind of person, like, you're going to have to get burned by that guy twice a year. And, you know, like when DeSean Watson was getting traded, there was a lot of talk of the Colts. There was a lot of talk of Jaguars prior to Trevor Lawrence. And I was like, there's no fucking way, like, that we want to get flamed by DeSean Watson twice a year.
Where do you think DeSean Watson ends up finishing when he comes back? Points per game wise, like top 12
I don't
quarterback.
like it at all. Nope. I'm going to go in that range of probably 12 to 15, and I'm being generous. I don't like that offense. I don't like that team. It's Chubb City out there. I mean, they are in games right now because Nick Chubb is carrying the boulder of that team on his back. I think he's a clear upgrade over Jacoby Brissett. His rushing upside, I think, will always keep him around quarterback one territory. I just don't think he quite finishes there. They're limited on weapons. Amari Cooper's doing well, but their scheme isn't very good. I think Kareem Hunt's the biggest beneficiary of.
I was about to say that.
Yeah, of DeSean Watson coming back. They're still going to suck the rest of the year. This year's a wash. I mean, they're not going to make the playoffs.
I'm pissed when the Eagles couldn't beat them. Hunt would have been a Ram if that happened.
I think so. I really do. And I don't get it because they're like, oh, what are they, 3-7 or 3-6? And they're like, oh, well, now we might have a chance. No, you don't. No, the fuck you don't.
All right, we're going to do a dynasty check-in. I have 3 rookies. I want you to tell me if you would buy, sell, or hold. So first player, I have Damian Pierce, currently the RB14 in PPR points per game.
I'm buying. Just my personal opinion. Here's what I see when I look at Damian Pierce is I see a little bit of Nick Chubb. He's got that just pure runner of the football kind of hard nose. What are you looking at me like that for?
Slow ass Damian Pierce is not Nick Chubb. Get out of here. He might be like great value Marshawn.
Look, he might not run a 4.2 or anything, but
I could run faster than Damian Pierce.
Oh man, let's somebody tag him in the comments because I want to see this. No, the fuck you can't. No, I'm buying. I mean, it's a situation right now that looks. I'm not overpaying, but I'm buying. That's kind of where I'm at. Because here's the situation right now. The only real competition in that backfield is Rex Burkhead, which I don't know why I fucking hate Rex Burkhead as much as I do. Like, they have the biggest boner for this fucking 34-year-old white dude, like, that plays running back. And I just don't get it. I don't even know why he's still on the roster. It's him and Nick Caserio, like, must be buddies. That's all I can think of. Because he was in New England, all of a sudden, he's got to get him in Houston. Like, they must, like, play golf together or something because – I mean, he can catch a football in an odd situation, and that's really about it. He's old, he's slow. Yeah, I don't really understand that one, but that is the only competition he has right now in the backfield. Otherwise, he's carrying it 30 times a game. I like that. I like that as having a high floor. The Texans have so many needs going into next year, especially in Dynasty. I'd love to have him because. Dude, we need offensive. We really don't. We need defensive line. We need linebackers. We need probably a new coach because we seem to do that every year. We need a lot of things, and I don't think running back is one of the pressing needs. So I don't see them going out and spending high on that position when we need so many other things. So I'm buying. That's just my thing. Is I'm buying. I like him as having a high floor.
See, here's my issue. Damian Pierce smells a lot like Philip Lindsay his rookie year.
Why?
Okay runners in a situation where they're getting a lot of touches, that the team's probably going to bring in another back next year, and the other back has a good chance of being more talented. I like Pierce, and he runs very violently, and that gets you hurt. I got hurt by Javonte. He hurt my heart.
Well, see, yeah, you're a little trigger shy. Here's the thing with hard-nosed runners like that. They do not last long.
In redraft, he's a buy, but in Dynasty, I have him as a sell.
Well, and here's the thing about a running back. Unless you get, and holy shit. Unless you get, in my opinion, Adrian Peterson lasted a long time. I think Derrick Henry will last a long time. Running backs are really, like 5-6 years max. That's what you're looking at. 5-6 years max, unless you get one of those like unicorn. A 30-plus-year-old running back is not starting on an NFL team 98% of the time.
Let's play a quick game. Will they last more than 3 more years? So I'll name a name.
Okay.
Are they going to be relevant 3 years from now in fantasy football? Derrick Henry.
I think so.
Yes, I agree. Nick Chubb.
I'm going to err on yes, but I wouldn't be surprised if it was no.
Yeah, that's where I am with it. Nick Chubb, or no, sorry, shit, I just said that. Dalvin Cook. No, I agree. Sorry, I made that up, so I repeated names. I was trying to get to Dalvin Cook there. Okay, next Dynasty rookie, Chris Olave, currently the PPR wide receiver 16.
I'm buying the shit out of that if I can. Here's the deal is he's good, man. He is. You can't deny it. He's good. He fits. I think he would really fit pretty much any offense. But he's in a unique situation because coming into the year, we were like, oh, Michael Thomas is back. Jarvis Landry's there. None of those guys fucking matter right now. I mean, it's Olave or bust, I like it. I would try to buy it. The particular Dynasty League I'm in, the person that has it, I already fucking know they would cling to dear life to that guy. So
I don't know
what I'm talking about.
He's a buy for me too. I was going into the year noted as saying he was my favorite rookie wide receiver. He's been really good. Michael Thomas is out for the year. Are we going to even see Landry again? We don't know. I like Chris Olave a lot. He's going to be good. He's second air yards, shitload of targets. He's by far the team's alpha. You know who's creeping behind him, though? Tight end 5, Taysom Hill.
Fuck Taysom Hill, dude. Everybody that ever will watch this has probably gotten burned by Taysom Hill for no fucking reason.
Taysom Hill just makes me laugh.
And he's like we've dived deep into Taysom Hill, and it's still like, what do you fucking do with this guy? Like he's a running back some games he's a quarterback, some games he's a tight end, but he's listed as a tight end. So any of those options are good, but here's my thing. I feel like the second he takes more than like 2 or 3 quarterback snaps, he needs to be listed as a quarterback.
Yeah, trying to figure out the Taysom thing is difficult. It's a whole ordeal.
And he's a 30-plus white dude. trying to play this game. Like,
is he the best player in NFL history? People are asking.
No, he's not. But yeah, I get it.
Let's see, how many touchdowns does he have? It won't show me because he's listed as a tight end. All right, Kenneth Walker, buy, sell, hold. He's currently the RB23.
That's one that I would recommend getting on now rather than later. And here's why. As long as Pete Carroll's there has always been a productive running back in that system. And here's my thing. Rashad Penny's hurt. He's going to be a free agent next year. There's a very clear path to Kenneth Walker being the workhorse there. And we've already seen, I mean, so you got to think Chris Carson to Rashad Penny to Kenneth Walker. All those guys were candidates for a massive game just about any week, right? That's just how that offense operates, especially with the quarterback play that they – I mean, I understand Geno Smith is him, but they're always in line for a big week. I don't think the team goes out of their way to re-sign Rashad Penny. I think he becomes a free agent. He goes elsewhere. And Kenneth Walker is in a situation where he might be the dude for 2 or 3 years. So in Dynasty, I'm absolutely buying. I want some shares of that.
Yeah, I would buy Kenneth Walker as well. He's like a baby Nick Chubb.
Yeah.
Really good at breaking out. He's somewhere in between Nick Chubb and Tony Pollard. Like in running style.
No, okay. Yeah. Okay.
That's
I thought you were talking about like
the range of outcomes. Just like he could be the RB2 or the RB77. He'll fall between there.
Somewhere in there, baby. That's all it takes. And no one can say you were wrong afterwards.
Yeah, that fantasy receipts account won't have shit on me. Kenneth Walker's top 10 in evaded tackles, breakaway runs, juke rate, and yards created per touch. Those are home run hitter metrics. That's what he is. He's a home run hitter. All right, betting locks. Your first lock, you have the Ravens -2 going against New Orleans on Monday night.
Here's the deal. The Ravens are kind of that team that is the most frustrating team to bet on. But here's the thing is they are always in very close games. They have an electric offense, but it's like they plug it in and you know what I mean? Like they just haven't really hit that moment. New Orleans isn't good. That's my only thing is they're not a very good team. I understand they beat the hell out of the Raiders while we were in Vegas watching it, and all these, people are bitching and moaning, where we're at. But I still don't believe that the Saints are better than the Ravens. I think the Ravens are better coached. I think they have a better team. Their defense is absolutely terrifying at this point after adding Roquan Smith, which is one we didn't talk about because it's not really fantasy relevant. They have a nasty fucking defense now. I mean, there is no question about it. They've got a lot of great pieces on that defense. They stole Roquan Smith away from the Bears. Excellent defense. So I'm in on that. I think there's no shot in hell that New Orleans beats Baltimore.
I have a crazy take. I like New Orleans to win.
Oh.
Are
they Andy Dalton?
I think the Ravens
Red Rifle
will be good. I don't think they're going to be good this week. I don't think we're going to see that much Roquan.
I'm sure not, but yeah.
Yeah. Like, I think in 3 weeks the Ravens are going to be good, but no Mark Andrews, no Rashad Bateman. The offense is uber limited, and the Saints defense is good. And taking away the pass game is going to be a big deal for Lamar. That's going to hurt him. And New Orleans is at home, which they have a good home field advantage. I like New Orleans to win outright.
Are you ready for the Isaiah Likely train?
See, I don't know if we're really going to have an Isaiah Likely breakout.
I think Isaiah Likely is about to go out there just like – I mean, here's the deal. Mark Andrews is trending to not play. If he does, is it done?
He's doubtful. He's not going to play.
I don't think he is either. here's the deal. I think you take Isaiah Likely and you plug him in, he has every bit the upside of Mark
I want to see it. I want to see
Don't
it.
don't at me in the comments. You know what I mean? But
What if
I'm
he puts
big
up,
on Likely, man.
What if he puts up a Kyle Pitts stat line?
Well, it depends. Is it Kyle Pitts last week or is it Kyle Pitts the year and a half before that?
You know it's Kyle Pitts.
I don't know, man. Tight end's such a volatile position. If I have, which I do, I have a lot of Isaiah Likely. If I'm in a position to try to win, I'm playing Isaiah Likely this week without question.
I would too.
There's more boom than bust potential in my mind.
All right, my first lock. I have New England minus 5.5 at home against the Colts. The Colts have no JT. Bill Belichick loves to chew up and spit out shitty young quarterbacks.
I think
Especially
he gets
rookies.
off. Yeah.
He's in there with his hood on, just fucking watching film from the 1910s. Like, oh, I'm gonna fuck this motherfucker up this week. New England is top. New England's thrown, or New England has picked off 10 passes. That's good for a third in the league. They're going to chew Ellinger up. They're going to pressure him. They're going to get to him. The defensive backs are going to be able to hold up. I don't like Pittman this week. We'll talk about it later. I think this might be a Mac Jones game, too. I hate that motherfucker. I don't want him to be good, but this is a shitty pass defense. I think Mac is going to shine. Look for Ramondre to play well in the pass game. I'm not sure about his rushing totals, though, against a stout Colts rush defense. But yeah, New England minus 5.5.
I see the game script flipping pretty negative pretty quick for the Colts, so I think Ramondre does have volume-based upside. If nothing else, the Pats will probably get up 2-3 scores, and he might run it a shitload. So that'll probably offset the fact that they have that good of a rushing defense. But yeah, the Colts are down bad, man. I really thought going into the year, I thought they were a lock to win that division. I really don't know that there is a lock. All four of those teams fucking suck. It could be any one of them. Well, probably not Houston, but any of the other three really could win that division, and it wouldn't really surprise me at this point. So, yeah, I think the Patriots, man. I'm not a big Mac Jones fan. I think you're right. I think his real ceiling is like Matt Ryan. He plays like him. He walks like him. Fucking kind of really talks like him. I mean, it smells like Matt Ryan to me.
But not MVP.
No.
No. If he was with Kyle Shanahan, he would be like that. But he wouldn't have been pre-MVP, still really good pre-Kyle Matt Ryan.
No. Yeah, I agree. He's probably
that Cousins to me.
Yeah, it's like Kirk Cousins and Matt Ryan had a child, and it's named Mac. Yeah, so I don't really like his upside. I don't really know, man. New England's going to probably go through an identity crisis these next couple of years because I think Bill's going to play as long as he, is going to coach as long as he wants to coach. As long as he coaches, he's going to do that weird shit he does. Yeah, dude, I don't know, but I think their receiving core is a little underrated. I think people kind of sleep on that. I think Jacoby Myers is probably a high-end wide receiver too on a given week. I know he's having a hell of a year. He's a touchdown machine all of a sudden, which is weird because I remember when he didn't do that. Yeah, I mean, you remember when he didn't do that, right?
Yeah, he didn't catch a touchdown for his first 2 years.
Yeah, and then
you're gonna shit yourself. Jacoby Myers is PPR wide receiver 11.
That's just surprising.
Yeah. I like Tyquan Thornton too. Kendrick Bourne's the best receiver in the room. Well, not anymore. I like Myers more, but Kendrick Bourne's the most explosive. But Bill Belichick doesn't like him.
And I hate to take a victory lap, but, man, I told y'all Ramondre was going to be that dude. I told y'all. I got a lot of Ramondre in some leagues. But, yeah, so anyway, on the point of this game, yes, the Patriots are going to win. The Colts are absolutely going to get shit canned. Bill Belichick does, in fact, love to just, like, really just thunderfuck the shit out of a rookie quarterback. And it's almost sad because you're like, man, that probably really just killed that guy's confidence, because Bill Belichick, if nothing else, is an excellent defensive mind. He knows he probably has gone back and watched Sam Ehlinger's fucking Texas tape, and he knows every fucking thing that guy is going to do. That's the kind of guy Bill Belichick is. So, I agree.
Yeah, Bill Belichick is going to wreak havoc on him. All right, Carolina versus Bengals over 42 points. Why are you locking that?
Man, I just think that's going to be one of those games. Neither team has that great of a defense. I think for some reason, and I feel like I'm going to feel like an idiot after saying this, I think Carolina's kind of starting to click a little bit. I think they're kind of figuring out what they're doing. PJ Walker isn't as bad as everybody thought. He had that one really shitty game where everybody was like, oh, fuck, put Baker back in. But then he rebounded, came back. He found out DJ Moore played on that team, which is good. Found out DJ Moore was actually a good receiver on that team, so they did some things. Deontay Foreman's doing things.
I have a take on Foreman.
Huh?
I said I have a Foreman take later.
I do too, so I'm kind of excited to talk about that one. But they're not a good team, but they're better, I think, than they have led on to be. Cincinnati, I know they're down Jamar Chase, but T. Higgins is still that guy. Tyler Boyd's still a really good receiver in this league. They got a lot of things going for them. I'm just going over on the score. Surely Cincinnati's probably going to win, but I think the score's kind of undershot.
Yeah, I'm not sure about this one. I could see it being over really easy. Shit, the Bengals could put up 35. But I could also see it being a lower scoring, Bengals get up 3 touchdowns and just easy coast out win. So,
are you talking about like lower scoring Alabama LSU type of game or what?
I'm talking like the Bengals are up 21-0. Like what happened to Tampa Bay, but reverse.
Which week?
Last week. 2 weeks ago against Carolina.
Yeah.
All right, my last lock. I have Rams versus Tampa Bay under 42.5 points.
I almost fucking took that one until I saw you did it.
The Rams are 20th in pass DVOA on offense and 26th in rush DVOA.
Mm-hmm.
Buccaneers 9th and 29th. That's terrible. The teams' combined records 6-9. Neither teams look good this year. Both teams have only put up over 20 points 2 times this year. CBS made a big deal about making this the one primetime game at 4:30, and it's a stinker. It's going to suck.
And we're all going to have to fucking watch it.
How many iPads does Brady break?
I don't know, man. I mean, that whole thing is – so here's the deal. The Rams, it's pretty easy to understand. Like, if you watch the Rams, you're like, okay, Matt Stafford isn't good under pressure. He's constantly fucking under pressure because their offensive line is garbage. They have absolutely no run game anymore. So, yeah, he's just really dealt a shitty hand with extremely high expectations because they just won the fucking Super Bowl. That one I get. The Tampa Bay side of it, not really a whole lot has changed there. I mean, offensively at least, except for Todd Bowles. Todd Bowles is a defensive coach, but Brian Leftwich is still there, right? Yep. Brian, whatever the fuck his name is. So you would think that things would be very another day at the office type of thing, but it's not. Something's not right. They got Godwin back, and they just look bad. And I haven't really been able to put a reason to it, but they're just not good. And I'm sure Brady hasn't played good, which is in his 77th season. It's really hard to imagine that, but he just hasn't played good. I'm sure it has something to do with like his
I have a theory.
getting divorced or whatever.
Are you ready for this?
Oh, God, here we go.
So his broadcasting deal, if he got it, his salary would have been higher than if he was playing football. So he came back, so his salary was lower. So when the divorce got finalized, his alimony payment was higher.
Ooh. Okay. All right. I get that. I mean, yeah, so he's gonna just suck it down this year. He probably got off of the season. They got into some shit, and he's like, "Yep, this is headed for a breakdown." He's like, "You know what? I'm gonna go back, make my $20 million a year, get a divorce, and then go make $50 million a year, and get some alimony." Okay, all right, that's believable. I don't know why that fucking matters in the realm of people making hundreds of millions of dollars, but sure, petty, yes, but.
Travis. Okay, so moving on. We have our loves this week. Travis Etienne versus Las Vegas is your first love.
Yeah, Las Vegas, dumpster fire of a situation. They are really falling apart on all ends. We went into the season thinking the AFC West was just absolutely fucking loaded, right? And every team but the Chiefs has a lot of question marks around, right? Las Vegas can't win games. Denver can't win games. The Chargers win games, but their offense is fucking terrible. I'm a big Etienne guy. I think he's really breaking out. I think this is going to be a season where we see him kind of project himself into first round of redrafts next year, redrafts, dynasty startups, whatever. I think he's going to potentially be a first round type of guy next year. Young, explosive. I swear to God, he'll break off a 50-yard run out of nowhere. Super fucking explosive guy. I love him against a shitty Las Vegas defense. And he's really the focal point of that offense, which he should be right now. He absolutely should be. And I think he is what we thought Antonio Gibson was going to be. Right?
Yeah.
Am I wrong? He's Black McCaffrey. That's the way I see it.
Yeah, he gets good passing usage. He's like poor man's Christian McCaffrey.
Sure. Yeah, I'll agree with that. Yeah, but
but
he's also like very wealthy man's Antonio Gibson.
Yes. It's all the same spec.
At least the thought of what everybody thought he was going to be.
Yeah, I love Etienne. He looks good. Him and Swift play very similarly. I like both of them, but Etienne seems to be a little more durable, at least so far. Swift, I moved Swift in Dynasty because I saw how that was going to go. That's Injury City. Good player, but Injury City.
I'll tell you right now, I'm in a league. We're in a Dynasty league, and I'm definitely full tank mode at this point. And Etienne's one of the ones that it would take a lot. Even though I'm absolutely shitting the bed on purpose, it would take a lot to get Etienne away from me. And it was a situation where I didn't draft Etienne, but he got that injury. I sent a first, and it was a done deal. And I fucking held, and I was like, nope, I'm gonna ride this one out, and I'm glad I did.
Yeah, it paid off. All right, my first love. I have Aaron Rodgers going against Detroit. We're going to see if this Packers team is really done or not. Detroit's
if they lose to Detroit, it's over.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's done. It's done. Detroit's allowing 32 points per game. Dallas is the team that put up the least amount of points against Detroit, and they put up 24. Rodgers is looking to break a 4-game losing streak.
God.
It's been bad.
What the fuck is happening?
Yeah, I know. Why am I in on him? Aaron Rodgers, top 12 in attempts, passing yards, and red zone attempts, with multiple passing touchdowns in 6 of his 8 games. I think the Packers are going to want to put it on him. You know, Aaron Rodgers is petty as shit. If
Yeah.
Lazard plays, Lazard's a must start. I like Dubs. I like Tonyan. I really like all the Packers just because I think this is we're going to go score 35 points, feel good about ourselves, and then go get beat next week.
Who do they play next week?
I don't know. I didn't look.
Okay. I thought there was like a point to that. Yeah, man, honestly, it's one of those things where we went into the season and I thought Aaron Rodgers was like criminally underrated. Like he was going quarterback like 16, 17, like somewhere in a really disrespectful range, in my opinion. And now it's kind of coming full circle, and I'm like, okay, maybe fucking everybody else was right. But I mean, they're struggling offensively. I know those rookie wide receivers, if he hasn't like punched one of them at this point, like it's probably coming. I think Christian Watson is out or might be out. I'm not really sure, but they're not really losing a whole lot is the thing. They've had some real offensive struggles this year. I was really big on Aaron Jones going into the year, and he's had boom games, but he hasn't been consistent like I thought he would be. But yeah, the Lions are a perfect team to get right on. Unfortunately, I want the Lions to be good so bad, but they're just not.
Yeah, Dan Campbell's probably losing his job soon.
Which sucks. I mean, I wish we would go pick up Dan Campbell. I mean, there's just those certain coaching positions that everybody knows is a fucking death wish. It's Detroit, Cleveland, the Jets. I mean, all those teams have just been a revolving door for coaches.
Yeah.
But then sometimes coaches get out of them and go do shit like, you remember when Bill Belichick went from the Browns to the Patriots and he was there for 20 goddamn 7 years or however long he's been there. So it's not always the coach. Sometimes it's the organization.
There's a reason that Dan Campbell gets hired in Detroit, that Joe Judge gets hired in New York, Gase got hired by the Jets. Undesirable jobs.
Yeah, and nobody wants to. Everybody knows, like Jaguars are that same way. So yeah, he's probably on the hot seat. Whoever the fuck the GM is probably on the hot seat. There's probably a lot of things happening there, but I definitely like the Lions to probably lose this week.
I hope so. All right, your next love. You have DK Metcalf versus Arizona.
So I thought he tore his ACL. The week that it happened, that was the kind of the sounds of the reports. I'm like, oh shit, he's not doing so well. He comes back last week, has a good game. So yeah, he's fine. He's fine. Everybody knows that the Seattle Seahawks offense is actually kind of good. No one was ready for that. No one knows how to really deal with that on a personal level, but they are. And guess what? A good offense and a bad secondary does. They throw the ball, right? So I love DK Metcalf. I think he's a freak of nature. There's definitely not another guy with a physical ability, I think, like DK Metcalf. I'm excited. I think he's going to rip the shit out of Arizona, and I like Seattle to win that.
I like Seattle as well. Does Seattle make the playoffs?
I think San Francisco comes around and wins that division at the end of the day. I think they go on a tear and catch back up and probably win that division. I wouldn't put them out as a wild card though.
Yeah, I think they could be a wild card as well. I like Metcalf this week. Arizona's relatively weak at corner. DK's a specimen, and Gino's been good.
Yeah.
My last love on the week, I have Raheem Mostert going up against Chicago. No Chase Edmonds. Chicago just got tore up by another explosive home run hitting running back in Tony Pollard, and they're only 28th in rush DVOA. Mostert's had 14-plus carries in each of his last 5 games with a 60%-plus snap share in each of those games. 6 breakaway runs on the year versus a defense that just got gouged by another explosive back in Pollard, like I said earlier. I think it's going to be Mostert City. We're going to get some Mostert, some vintage San Francisco Mostert this week. I like Miami to win this game. I think Chicago is going to be better looking, but nowhere close to this explosive Miami offense.
Yeah, so here's my thing is, here's a question I got for you. All of these Miami, San Francisco guys, right? So I'm talking Jeff Wilson, Mostert, all these guys, Elijah Mitchell, who probably has seen his last real valuable NFL action, unless Mike McDaniel picks up the phone and he's like, hey, I'll give you a fucking 17th round pick next year or whatever, and gets him over in Miami. How many of these guys do you wonder, like if you took Raheem Mostert, threw him on another team, if you took Jeff Wilson, throw him on another team that wasn't Miami or San Francisco with these offensive fucking masterminds, would they be worth a fuck?
I think it depends. I think
Are
some
they
teams
system guys? Is what I'm saying.
I think Mostert could after
Okay.
San Francisco, not before. You're talking before he blew up? No. After he blew up, I'm sure he could. But that's about it. Wilson, no. Mitchell, no. Breida, I mean, we've seen Breida. He was kind of
Go and flop, yeah.
Yeah. He was maybe kind of going to be a thing in Buffalo and never caught on. So, yeah, I think it's really the system more than the player with those guys.
Right. It's just something I was wondering. But yeah, I think Mostert has a good week. Going into the season, I was way higher on Edmonds and Mostert. I thought Edmonds was really going to be a thing, but turns out Mostert. If you would have told me prior to the draft that Kenyon Drake was going to be a thing in Baltimore and Raheem Mostert was going to be a thing in Miami, I would have just laughed my ass off. But it turns out those guys are valuable fantasy assets, and it's really weird. But yeah, I like Mostert for a big game this week. He's a very fast guy, and I think that gives him the edge a lot of times.
You know who's going to be an asset after this week?
What?
The Gus Bus.
He's out. He's not playing.
That's what I said, after this week.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I was like, he ain't gonna be shit this week because he's gonna be at home.
Okay.
All
right. Hates. Your first hate. Henderson going up against Tampa Bay.
Right. So yeah, it kind of goes into what we were saying. Bad offensive line play. Bad offense, really, more than anything. And all those things, and then Tampa actually does still have a decent run defense. I just don't see a good week for him. If you got another option, that's probably the route I'd go. This is not a get right situation because I don't know, that game really could go either way on game script. Just not very good teams. But Henderson's not the one I'd like to be playing this week.
Who is the Rams running back to own? Henderson, Akers, Kyron Williams, or Ronnie Rivers?
Who the fuck is Ronnie Rivers?
He led the team in touches last week. He's an undrafted free agent.
That situation, I think it's so close. I think it could vary week to week. I think it's one of the things, like if someone got the hot hand and ran away with it, it's probably going to be that guy. I really don't think it's Cam Akers, though. That's probably not the option I go with. But the other three, it could be.
No, you don't get asked away from the team for no reason.
Right. Yeah, they tried so hard to fucking trade him, but it didn't work. And now they're kind of stuck with him, at least till the offseason.
Poor guy. Yeah, I think you're right. I think I'd stash Kyron Williams just in the off chance he's the one, but I don't like Henderson this week. He might get out touched by Ronnie Rivers again. You never know.
That's kind of the scenario with a lot of guys in fantasy or in dynasty. Like especially if you have big rosters like we do in a lot of ours, like if I see a guy on the waiver wire that I have any fucking inkling might do something with his career, I'm gonna grab it just on the off chance that it blows. I don't think I have any like major success stories yet, but I mean, oh well, yeah, I guess I did grab Marcus Mariota off the waiver wire last year. Quarterback 8. Quarterback 8.
Ridiculous. All right, my first hate. I have Michael Pittman going up against New England. We talked about it earlier. Ellinger's going to get chewed up and spit out. Now,
He's going to get shit on.
Maybe Pittman gets some garbage time work and he scores a touchdown, and then it's all worth it. But I have Pittman as a wide receiver 3 this week. He's not a guy that I'm playing unless I absolutely have to, especially in like 10-team leagues. New England's just too good. I love Pittman. I don't know if I love Pittman as Ellinger yet, but I love Pittman. So hopefully that team drafts a quarterback that's worth a shit or signs one because Pittman deserves it.
I am a Pittman fan, and unfortunately, I feel like he was drafted very high this year. So I think a lot of people, unless they've made some trades, got him on the cheap or something, like they're probably in a situation where they might have to. Especially because this was a bye week. This is a bad bye week for a lot of good fantasy players are on bye this week. You probably have to. There's a league I have him in where I don't feel good about it, but I'm doing it. And I think that's kind of where it's like you got to like temper those expectations because New England, man, I'm telling you, if I had a year with Bill Belichick, I could probably be a pretty decent corner in this league. I don't know what he does with secondaries, but man, he's always got a good secondary. It's been a revolving door too. You had like guys like Ty Law and shit, and then you go into guys like Stephon Gilmore, J.C. Jackson, and you go into
Asante Samuel, Darrell Revis.
Yeah, he's always just had these guys that could be fuck all nobodies, and they go play for him, and then all of a sudden they're just an amazing corner. Like, who's the guy they got this year? I can't even remember his fucking name.
Mills. And
no, the other one.
Yeah, I can't remember his name right now. I know who you're talking about.
PFF grades like through the fucking roof on this guy. Yeah, so they've always got an elite secondary. Corners, safeties, they've always got it all. So, yeah, not a good week to be a receiver or a quarterback for the Colts.
Is it ever this year?
Pittman had a couple good games, I think.
Your next hate, TJ Hawkinson versus Washington.
So here's the thing. Washington's defense is absolute fucking garbage. Unless you are a tight end. And correct me if I'm wrong. I think I was reading that they are like top 4 against the tight end. I mean, they get their ass blown out everywhere else, like running backs, wide receivers, all that. But they're halfway decent against the tight end. Like I said, first week coming over, I think there's a lot of better options in Minnesota. You still got Justin Jefferson, who I would sell my left nut to get in Dynasty, but I've already been down that road and didn't go well. So I've seen some ridiculous Justin Jefferson Dynasty trades lately, too. Just absolutely stupid. So much so that I had to stop what I was saying to tell everybody about it. I mean, I saw like a list this long of draft picks traded for him, so that's kind of unnecessary. But yeah, not a TJ Hawkinson week. I think he's going to adapt to the new offense, but I think he'll have his day. But I don't think it's much better for him versus Detroit.
How many firsts would you trade for Jefferson?
Probably 3.
That's fair.
I think 3's acceptable.
Yeah, I would agree. I don't like Hawkinson this week either. I don't like first week trade guys. Jeff
Mhm.
Wilson would be the only one who maybe
Yeah,
Kadarius
because
Toney at
he's
the end of my
familiar with
league.
the system.
Kadarius Toney might be more involved than we think after that bye week.
I agree. I think that one could work out. 90, probably 90% of the time, though, I just don't like a guy first week after a trade, especially if it was like late in the week and he wakes up one day, he gets on a plane and he goes plays a game. You know, you can read a playbook all you want, but you're not going to really, especially depending on the team, you're not really going to retain it all in like a day or two. So um, that's kind of my thing
All right. It's time for Deontay Foreman.
there. Okay.
What if I told you X-Files music? Do-do-do-do-do-do-do. What if I told you that this Carolina offense is going to reverse back to the mean? But it was a fun story against a bad Tampa Bay team and then shitty Atlanta who plays better than they should. This team all year long has been bad. The running backs haven't been uber productive. The team has been uber productive. PJ Walker's an undrafted quarterback. No receiving floor for Foreman, even without Chuba. I think
No.
he's a high end RB3 rest of the season. And he'll have some good games, but Cincinnati's going to get up quick. Game script's going to go away from him. I think we've all overrated Deontay Foreman just a little bit off of 2 games. And he has that Achilles thing. You never know. If he's getting the ball 30 times, his knee's going to blow out in 2 weeks. It's kind of fucked up to say, but that's how that works.
I think rest of season, let me just clear the narrative because I picked up Deontay Foreman off the waiver wire like last year. I don't remember what fucking team did he play for last year.
Tennessee.
Tennessee. That's right, because he came in, played pretty good for Derrick Henry. I grabbed him, and I traded him for a second-round pick last week.
Fucking ridiculous.
And I'll give you guys the full context. I'm absolutely hammered on a bus in Vegas, right? And I'm just riding down the street, and I'm like, it's probably time to sell. Because he just had like a 30-point game. I'm like, it'll never be better than this. And I just sent one trade. I was like, Deontay Foreman for a second. And I'm just riding down this bus with this fucking shit dick behind me. And like the guy was pissing me off. And then I just get a bloop. And it's like a trade is pending. And I'm like, no shit. And I was like, please let it be mine. Please let it be mine. And it was. And I'm glad it worked that way. But I'll tell you this, I think he definitely has some value the rest of this season. I mean, after this season, who fucking knows what'll happen, especially for Carolina. I think he has a high floor just based off of volume, not a high floor, but a startable floor based off of volume because PJ Walker isn't really that good. His only downside is really like the game script is probably going to get away from him in most games pretty quickly. And I think the last 2 games were just fortunate for him as far as they were still in it. I think your average team, not a shitty Atlanta team or a shitty Tampa Bay team, especially the Bengals. Yeah, I don't think this is his week, but I do think he has value the rest of the season. Just based off of poor quarterback play.
Yeah. He's a high end RB3.
That's fair. He's got RB2 upside some weeks, but yeah, I think that's fair.
I can't believe you got a second for him. That was fucking ridiculous.
I was like, oh my God. I wanted to jump up on that bus and yell, but I was like, but now in this draft, I have 2 firsts, 4 seconds, and a third and 2 fourths.
What are you going to do with those picks?
I'm trying to package some seconds, get into the first, but everybody in this draft, like everybody in this fucking league acts like draft picks like own the world. But you know, you got to realize a draft pick's a lottery ticket. So probably what I'm going to do is I have a shitload of picks. I'm going to wait until the off season and find somebody that's just fucking in love with somebody. You know what I mean? And probably try to package those picks for some decent players. Like I think my first will probably be I can't fucking lose in this league. It's pissing me off. I'm fucking 5-3 and I've been trying to lose. Like I've been making strategic fucking, you know, like I'll play this receiver over this one, try not to make it real obvious. You know what I mean? And I still keep fucking winning and it's driving me nuts. But I think a realistic range for me to finish is probably 4th or 5th in the draft. I think that's realistic. And then your pick's going to be late, so I might as well fucking use the first round status and fucking get something out of that because everybody's going to. But yeah, then I think I'll start packaging the second round picks and try to make a move somewhere. That's kind of my thought.
That's the way. Anything else we want to hit on?
Houston lost. For one half of football, I was like, "Are we going to be those dudes?
Oh yeah,
are we going?
That happened.
Yeah, are we going to be those dudes? Are we gonna beat the undefeated Eagles? Turns out, no, we are not going to beat the Eagles. But we played one half of good football.
Hey, that's the goal, right?
Well, one half of good football is sometimes better than we play the whole game. Man, I like Davis Mills. I do, man, but he is not. I think he's more of a developmental guy. What?
So we're not college football guys all that much, but there's some craziness that happened. I just want to touch on this. I just saw it. Alabama loses to LSU 30. No game 35-14. Clemson's number 4 in the country. Texas beat K-State by 7. And KU became bowl eligible, beating number 18 Oklahoma State. Crazy college football day. Georgia, Tennessee sucked. That was bad.
Who won?
Unfortunate. Georgia by 14.
Yeah, not surprising. How much did we beat K-State by?
7.
That's fine. That's fine. I got a guy that was at a guy I work with was at the game, and I said something to him like, "Hey, when Texas beats K-State, like I'll bring you a T-shirt or something." He was like, "Oh, well, if that happens, I'll bring you a jacket because it'll be a cold day in hell." And I'm like, "All right, cool." So I enjoy my jacket.
Anything else we want to touch on?
Good luck, gentlemen.
Yes. For Sundays.
Sunday is going to be what it always is. Halfway through the season, guys.